Hey everyone, this is DWSDarius and welcome back to the fish room. Welcome also to a new year. And I want to kick off the new year by giving you guys a full fish room tour. I've been doing a lot of work down here. I've been making a lot of changes and there's a lot to show you guys. As you can see, we've moved some tanks around. I built some stands. We started some new aquariums and there's a lot to give updates on. 2024 is going to be a year to make everything better. I want to better myself. I want to better my aquariums. I want to better my presence as a social media influencer. So yeah, this is the year to improve. So I'm actually going to be making two videos. This one video is going to be more informative, going tank by tank, just showing you guys what's going on. And the second video is going to be more cinematic, just me playing with my camera. These are some beautiful fish, and that video is going to show the beauty of the fish. I'm not sure which one I'm going to drop first, but that is the plan. But yeah, these videos can be pretty long. So I want to be informative, but at the same time, I'm going to be brief. So if you have any questions or comments, just let me know in the comment section below. We're going to start off right here. You can see I built this 125 double rack. So we have a 125 on the bottom and a 125 on top. On the bottom, we have Indonimus, my famous fish. This guy is a hybrid between a Dovite and a Jaguar. Right now, he has to be about 14, maybe 15 inches. And he's an absolute beast, very territorial. He doesn't like me. And he especially doesn't like cats, so he's patrolling back and forth, and if he could, he would reach out this tank and grab this cat, but he can't. Definitely a very interactive fish. Now, in order to get him over here, remember he used to be underneath my 350, and in order to get him over here, I had to drain the tank, take him out, put him in a small little 20-gallon aquarium. Of course, that was extremely stressful, so he's still not fully recovered. He didn't get physically injured, but emotionally, so he's not really eating as much as he should be. But the moment he's back to eating again, I'm going to go ahead and put a divider in that aquarium, and then I'm going to go and catch this female Dovite and see if I could give him a little mate. If they do breed, the offspring will be 75% Dovite, 25% Jaguar. Probably not going to do anything with them, maybe just use them as feeders, but the main goal is to give this guy some company. I think he should appreciate it. I tried before and he was a little bit aggressive, but I think he's a little bit more mature and he has his priorities set and he might want some offspring. So that's going to be the goal with this aquarium. Above, we have a grow out aquarium. I definitely like the look of this aquarium. I have a DIY 3D background. Not DIY, I actually bought it from Universal Rocks. A 3D background. The aquascape I'll say is DIY. We have some nice wooden rocks that I collected locally. We have some pothos and Boston fern. Boston fern is just an amazing plant to have on your aquarium. Aesthetically, it's amazing. I like the way it blows up like that, and I also like the way it drops into the aquarium. And they just do extremely well with their roots in the water. And we have pothos over there. When it comes to fish, this is pretty much a grow out for my other aquariums. So we have some Feste. I started off with 3. Now I'm down to 2 because they were being aggressive towards each other. So I have this larger one, which I believe is a male. This one's about 5 inches. And then I have the smaller one, which is about 4 inches, and I'm hoping that this is a female. That's the main reason why I'm growing out these Feste. I want a female. Females are extremely beautiful, and if I do have a female, she's going in a big 880-gallon aquarium. If not, if these are 2 males, they're going to be rehomed, and I'm not going to try again. I've been trying to get female Feste for years, and I always end up with males. So yeah, if this is a strikeout again, I'm just going to give up on the species. Other than that, I have some Central American growouts. Right here, we have this Texas cichlid. Now, I bought this fish as a green carpenter cichlid, and it's actually showing signs of being a Texas. It might actually be a hybrid between the two. Very similar fish, very closely related, but the carpenter has bigger blotches, and it's a little bit more vibrant in color. The Texas, as you can see, has smaller spots. Now, the only reason why I'm confused is because this guy is pretty bright with his color. So I'm thinking he might be a hybrid between the Carpentus and the Texas, but he is a beautiful fish, and I'm growing him out for my 350. Then we have this right here. This is a Fenestrata cichlid. Beautiful Vieja cichlid coming from Central America. We also have a Vieja, where is it? We have a Vieja zonatus somewhere. Where is it? It's right here in a, and that's another beauty of the ferns. It's such a great cover for the fish. It's actually back there just hiding from this guy because they're being aggressive towards each other because they're so similar. And then we have some tilapia. The tilapia are pretty much thither fish in this aquarium. I'm going to take out these Vieja and they're going to go into my 350 pretty soon. and these tilapia are going to stay here. And eventually, when summertime comes, we're going to go and take them outside, and they're going to be used to breed, and I'm going to use the offspring again as feeders. Some people might find that to be cruel, but it's actually what these tilapia are sold for. They're actually sold for human consumption. I bought these tilapia from a farm, so instead of people eating them, feeding them to my fish. I mean, I guess it is kind of weird, but it's natural. And lastly, the last livestock in this aquarium is this red ear slider. Somebody was keeping this turtle in like a tiny little six-inch aquarium. Those little tanks that I forgot what it's called. I think it's called a carry tank or something like that. It's not meant for fish or creatures to live in them long term, but somebody had it in there for months. It wasn't eating, it was almost dying, and I decided to take it. I didn't want to put them in my aquarium because you can't really keep a turtle in a cichlid tank. Instead, you have to make the entire tank a turtle tank. So we have the heat lamp, we have the bathed in rock, so you got to do all that if you want to keep turtles. But so far I'm not regretting it. He's definitely a very entertaining creature in this aquarium. He definitely looks pretty weird. I like the way he interacts with the fish, and he also likes to do this thing where if I put my finger there, he tries to bite me through the glass. So definitely a nice little creature. When it gets warm enough, he's going to go outside into the backyard pond, and hopefully eventually when he's old enough, he's able to overwinter outside, because as they get older, he definitely will be a threat to the fish. And eventually, once these guys grow up, I plan on keeping smaller fish, and a bigger turtle definitely would eat them. So I'm hoping that I could get this guy to be able to live outside in my pond full time. After that, we have my largest aquarium, and this is my 880 gallon aquarium. So this tank is 8 feet long, it is 4 feet wide and 4 feet tall, and this is a DIY aquarium that we built about 3.5 years ago. And it's crazy because we built this tank and initially it was so big, but now the fish have shrunk it because they've gotten so big. So before we take a look at the fish, just give you guys a quick look at the plants. I love having these plants grow up aquaponically like this. We have the peace lilies that grow so massive and produce flowers almost daily. We have 3 of them. These are the dominant plants. They're starting to really shade out everything, so all my other plants died off because they couldn't compete. We have some that are still struggling. We have some pothos. We have lucky bamboo right here, and then we have more pothos to the left. But I'm satisfied with the peace lilies. A very beautiful plant, and it's actually pretty low maintenance. The only problem is that they get so big that they smother each other, and I gotta trim them every now and then. I might lift the lights even higher. The only problem with that is that the light like bleeds into the rest of the fish room, and it kind of ruins the view of the other aquariums. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with that, but that's going on above, and not only is it aesthetically beautiful, but it's also helping remove some of the nitrates that the fish produce. But yeah, as I mentioned, this tank started off huge and now it's small because my biggest fish is almost 3 feet long, and it's making me feel as if I gotta upgrade again. Now obviously I don't really have too much space or the means to upgrade. I would have to move, but this guy is definitely making me want to get a bigger aquarium because he is massive, and that is my Cichlids peacock bass. I said he, I always have a habit of saying he, but this one I do believe is a female, and she's gorgeous. She's beautiful and she's a gentle giant. Behind her, I know you can't help but to notice my beautiful Orinoco peacock bass back there. Used to be my most aggressive fish. You can see the fins are kind of ripped up, and that's because he's no more the most aggressive. The most aggressive is now this guy, and he's been fighting with him, so the fins are a little bit damaged. I do have a temporal solution. I'm going to try to break up the line of sight. As I mentioned before, I'm going to toss in some driftwood. It's going to create some territories, and he's definitely going to be able to fight back against the other peacock bass. He actually is the bigger fish, but the other guy is just more energetic or just more aggressive, and because of that, he's taking on this damage. But yeah, I want to create some different territories, and I believe that should help. Underneath him, we have my beautiful azul peacock bass. You can see him with the stripes. Another gorgeous fish. He's the 3rd biggest peacock bass. That one is about maybe 18 to 19 inches. Again, these guys are staying in the shadows because they want to stay away from this guy who is a jerk. This is the smallest peacock bass. This is a Cichlids monoculus, and he's about nice yawn. But this fish is about maybe I'm gonna say 14, 15 inches. And then on top we have my oldest peacock bass, another Cichlids mono, and she is about, I'd say, 21 inches long. and she's pretty tall. Like this guy, she's almost as tall as this guy, even though she's not as long. So that's definitely nice to see. Besides that, we have this guy who's trying to be the tank boss. The only reason why he's not the tank boss is because this fish is bigger. But if this fish wasn't so big, this Messer's G-Freus would definitely be the tank boss. He's in the family of the Festae, and he's a very beautiful fish. Now, a couple of days ago, I was tempted to buy a cichlid, which is one of the biggest fish in South America, besides from these peacock bass. And I was like, I don't need an I have this guy. Very beautiful fish, kind of looks like an and he can be aggressive, but like I said, because his tank mates are so much bigger, he doesn't really do too much damage. Back there, you can see I have my pike cichlid. Used to be beautiful, but now she's big and she doesn't really have any need to show her true colors, so she's not that attractive, but she's definitely an interesting fish. We have a female jaguar cichlid in there, a gold morph jaguar. She's in the shadows. Again, this tank is 4 feet deep, so it's hard to see a fish that's lurking in the shadows, but she's in there. Oh, she's coming. But that's her right there. I'm going to eventually take her and put her inside of my 350. And then after that, we have the scavengers. We have a catfish, and you can see this catfish actually has a bite mark in his side. Sometimes when I turn the lights on with these aquariums, the peacock bass, it's like they wake up from a dream and they start attacking the smaller fish. And I guess that's what happened with this guy, and he has that huge bite mark in his side. Now, these peacock bass don't really have teeth, so that bite mark is just from pressure of them clamping down. So I have that one right there. We have another 4-line pictus back there. I keep saying I want to get these guys out. It's just not easy because you can't catch these catfish with a regular net because their spines get caught up in a net. So I gotta make like a way to catch these guys and then figure out what to do with them from there. We have an Elacherite bitcher over here. You can see him on the side of that rock. I'm keeping him to see how big I can get him, but long term I do want to take him out of this aquarium just because I want this tank to be fully South American. And then lastly, we have a ghost knife living inside a cave that I have back there. He's not going to come out, but he's back there, and he's actually doing pretty great in this aquarium. And that is the 880. Next, I want to give you guys a quick look inside of my sump. This is the sump for my 880 as well as my 350-gallon aquarium. It's a little bit noisy because I have to clean it. The sponges, I haven't cleaned it in months, so the sponges, they're full of debris and everything. So this thing is actually overflowing instead of actually going down through every chamber. So I'm going to have to straighten that up. But I want to give you guys a look over here. We have some nice wandering Jew, and doing awesome. Just more benefit to the water. Of course, these plants are growing so lushly and so strong that they're removing nitrates from the water, making the ecosystem a little bit better. Same thing with this pothos. I have both those coming from out of here, growing up into the window. Just all in the effort of trying to make the environment or the aquariums a little bit more cleaner. The more plants, of course, the better ecosystem that you have. That's why I have plants up here, plants over there. I try to squeeze in plants anywhere I can. Next, we have my 350-gallon aquarium. So this tank is 8 feet long, it is 3 feet wide, and it is 2 feet tall. And this is home to most of my Central American cichlids. We do have a few exceptions, but most of the fish in this tank come from Central America. And there's actually currently a conflict in this aquarium. We have a new tank boss. This is my black belt cichlid. This fish is about 12 to 13 inches, and he just dethroned my female parasite. She was the tank boss for a couple of years. She was older, or she is older than all these other fish, so she was bigger. And she's been a nice tank boss for a couple of years, but this guy just beat her a couple of days ago. And because of that, she has to stay up here. If she comes down, he's going to attack her. And it's natural with these fish, that's just his way of assuring that she's not going to challenge him again. The only problem is that now that she's up here, you have these other fish that try to do cheap shots, and everybody's picking on her, and eventually that's how fish die. So you can see she's up there, and she has those marks on her side. Those are missing scales because, like I said, everybody is now taking shots at her. So my solution to this is I'm going to be doing a huge rescape. I have this giant piece of driftwood in my backyard. I'm going to try to get that into this aquarium. The rescape alone is going to have a major impact because it's going to shift up territories and everything like that. On top of the rescape, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring these Central American cichlids that I'm growing out in that 125. I'm going to put them in this aquarium. There's going to be a lot of new faces, a lot of new fish added to the hierarchy. I should definitely ease up some of the attention that everybody is showing this female parasite. So that's going to be a dramatic experience. That driftwood is giant. It's going to be insane trying to get it into this aquarium. But I believe that is the only solution to this problem. Some people might say, why not take her out? I could take her out and put her in a different aquarium. The only problem is that when I try to reintroduce her to this aquarium, everybody's going to want to fight her instead of just this one guy, because everybody's going to try to prove their dominance over her. So if I reintroduce her, she's going to be at the very bottom of the hierarchy, and that's definitely not going to be good for her. So I'm going to try to do a rescape in the days to come. But yeah, as I mentioned, he's the new tank boss. He is actually pretty handsome. I do like him as the tank boss. Besides that, his biggest competition is from this guy, my male Fasciatus. This guy, he's not ready yet. He's about 2 inches smaller. But if this guy was the tank boss, I definitely would be pleased. He's very beautiful. To his side, we have a nice little female. She tries to stay by his side, but every now and then he's too aggressive, so she has to go away. And then we have one more male over here. This guy used to be the man. He used to have the female, but I did a rescape and he lost power. And that just shows you how significant these rescapes can be, because you're changing territories, and these fish, they're very smart. When they see you do a rescape, they automatically start claiming new territories. And yeah, that's just how these fish work. We have this pink Finistratus who's actually trying to hook up with this guy because he's the tank boss, but he's a little bit too aggressive, so it's not really working out right now. Female Dova, like I mentioned, I want to take her out, put her with Indonimus. We have Indonimus' sister over there. Going to leave her for a little while because she's pretty. And then I have this Madagascar cichlid. She's beautiful, not too aggressive. Eventually, I do want to take her out of this aquarium. She's just not ready yet, or the aquarium that I want to put her in is not ready yet, because there's fish that is small enough for her to eat. But yeah, eventually I want to get her out, and I want this to be a complete Central American aquarium. We do have some catfish. We have 2 Brisonose plecos, and we have a Raphael catfish. Those 3 are South American, but you don't see them, so they don't really count. And we also have a African catfish in here somewhere. He's going to stay as well, because you don't feed them, they don't count, and they just help clean up some of the mess. So directly beneath my 350, we have 2 aquariums. I'm using both of these tanks as grow out tanks. To the left, we have a 40-gallon tank, and to the right, we have a 75-gallon aquarium. In the 75-gallon, we have a nice mix of fish. So first off, we have my giant Danio, these guys right here. These are great to have. I'm using these as dither fish. So basically, they swim around so much and they're so active that they actually make other fish more active. They make everybody else feel more comfortable, and you get more activity from the other fish in the aquarium. So we have a nice school of those. You can also see we have these wide bar silver dollars, and these are also going to be dither fish, but these get much bigger. These could grow to about 12 inches. And the goal is to long term be able to put these guys in my 880-gallon aquarium. And I'm hoping that their behavior, their swimming, just breaks up some of the tension inside of this aquarium with these peacock bass. That's going to take some time. I imagine it's going to take about a year. So once they're a little bit bigger, I'm going to put them in this aquarium. They should help out in that tank. And then once they're big enough, they will be going inside the 350. Other than that, we have some Central American cichlids. I actually bought these the same time I bought the ones in my 125. These were just much smaller. So we have a, what is this, a Rostratus cichlid, a nice sand-sifting Central American cichlid. Right now I'm being pretty aggressive, but definitely a beautiful fish. We have a very beautiful Vieja Senaspilum right there in the center. And then we have one more Vieja. This is a Vieja Melanora. And like I mentioned, these guys are growing out. Eventually, when I move the fish out of my 125 over here, when I take those fish out of there and put them up here, these guys are going to go over there. Okay, so this right here is the last tank here in the basement. And again, this is a 40-gallon aquarium. I'm using it as a grow out aquarium. And most of these fish will be sticking together when I do put them in their new aquarium. So we have a nice colony of electric yellow labs. I bred these myself. I have 10 of them, and they're doing great, and they're just always showing that beautiful bright yellow color. We have the clown loaches. Can't go wrong with clown loaches. They're very active and very unique with their character. If you toss a piece of food in there, you can actually hear them clicking and eating, which I find to be very amazing. And we have this guy, my African tiger scat. Very beautiful fish. This fish looks like it belongs in salt water. Very colorful and very just smart. So I can't wait to get these guys in my 210. I want to wait a little bit longer because, you know, in my 210 I have some pretty big fish. I have my 12-inch bala sharks And I don't think that the bollard sharks will bother them, but these little guys can be intimidated at the bigger fish. So I'm going to get them a little bit bigger, and then they're going up there. And you can also see I have these banded leporinas. I bought these as dither fish. They're very beautiful, and I believe that they're very misunderstood. A lot of times we get one of them, and that one is extremely aggressive, extremely territorial. But I have 3 of them. That's still not really enough to have a nice colony. But these 3 I've been watching. They're great algae eaters. They're just very active, and they're great fish. So I'm going to grow them out. Eventually, I'm going to put them with these guys. Like I said, these guys are going to go into that 125, and they definitely will be nice fish to watch and just to learn from. So yeah, that is the last tank that we have down here in the fish room. Okay everyone, so this right here is my 210 gallon aquarium. This is my 3rd largest fish tank, and this tank is not in the basement. So a lot more people get to see this tank in person, and not just visitors. Every now and then I like to open up the shades, and people passing by get to see this aquarium. And that's why I'm trying so hard to find the right combination of fish. I'm looking for 3 main things. I'm looking for a diversity in size, and I definitely got that because my largest fish are my bollard sharks, which the largest one is close to 12 inches, and my smallest fish is actually, I have a lot of baby African cichlids that are like a centimeter long. They're not supposed to be in here, but I love the diversity of size. I love the activity. The fish in this tank are always moving. I'm just not quite satisfied with the color. I want more color, and that's the reason why I'm growing out my army of yellow labs. I have my clown loaches, and I also have my African tiger scat. And you can see the two yellow labs right there. Those are the parents, and look at how much they stand out. They're so vibrant. They're so bright. Now imagine 10 more being added to this aquarium, and that is the goal. Now, of course, that will make this tank overstocked, so I will be taking out some fish. I'm going to be taking out my colony of paradise gourami. I have like 6 of these guys up in here. I also plan on taking out some of these other Rabuna. These hybrids. These are Mason Reef hybrids. My main one, where is he? This might actually be my main one. I might even take him out, but I have 5 of these, and these reproduce like crazy. This lens won't really zoom in too much, but there's dozens of African cichlid fries surviving in the cracks and crannies. There's one right here that's a little bit more mature. But yeah, I want to get those out. This convict, I actually want to take her out. She's an OG. She survived. I was using convicts as feeders, and she survived, so that's the reason why I kept her up here. But I want to put her downstairs, and she'll be a tank boss over some of those juvenile cichlids that I'm growing out. And that's going to leave me with my 5 bollard sharks, my 7 torpedo barbs, my rainbow fish, my little colony of tiger barbs. Right now I have 7. I plan on getting maybe like 3 more just to get a nice school of 10. What else? I'm going to bring up my yellow labs, so we're going to have a nice batch of 12 yellow labs. We're going to have my African tiger scat. We're going to have the clown loaches, and I might keep this guy as well. It depends on this OB peacock. He's a little bit aggressive. I'm going to watch with him, but I believe that combination will give me the perfect blend of color, size, and activity. Besides that, we also have this green phantom pleco. He loves it in this aquarium. I kept him for like a year at my 350, and he never came out. I put him up here, and he's always out, and that's definitely because these guys are more peaceful. My 350, they're a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more tempted to touch. These guys, they mind their business. Even though the other day I saw a little Mabuna trying to fight him, he still likes it in this aquarium. So yeah, that is this tank, and I plan on making some of these changes pretty soon. When I make the changes in the 350 by adding a new piece of driftwood, I'm going to take out some of the driftwood that's already in there, bring it up here. I'm definitely taking out these cinder blocks. They were nice initially, but now I want to make it more natural. And yeah, that is my 350. It's always cool to take a peek up here. Got a nice canopy, a nice little jungle growing. We have the Boston fern, like I mentioned, grows great. It's actually growing on a piece of wood. I had a massive one in here. I had to take it out, and a little piece was left, and now that one is massive. We have, I forgot what this is. This is a herb I bought from a supermarket, growing strong, and it smells amazing. We have the pothos, and then we also have this Swiss cheese plant. And as I always mention, I got holes in my canopy, and this pothos growing up in my windows. And this over here is like 10 feet away from the tank, and we have massive pothos growing in the window. So yeah, that is my 210 gallon aquarium. Change is coming, but I'm definitely a very active and activity. 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 I'm definitely a very active and activ Cool aquarium. Okay, so these right here are my two smallest aquariums. These are two 20 longs, and they're my no-tech aquariums, meaning that I don't have any technology on these tanks. I don't have any lights, I don't have any heaters, and no filters. They rely on the natural light that comes from the windows. They rely on the plants to filter out the water and to remove the nitrates, and the plants rely on the fish to produce nutrients. Both of these tanks are doing awesome. They're extremely low maintenance, and they're very entertaining. This is a bedroom setup, and it's definitely nice to get up in the morning to come over here. I actually stare at these tanks for hours because there's just so much to see. We actually have a snail, nerate snail, trying to escape. I don't know why they do this, but they always come out and like take a break from the water. But we have that little guy right there. We have some nice house plants trailing into the aquarium. Just a very aesthetically beautiful aquarium. But let's take a look inside. We have cherry barbs in this aquarium. I have about 4 males, 5 females. They used to breed all the time, but my substrate in this tank expired. I put root taps, but it wasn't enough. Before, it used to be a very dense jungle of dwarf sage, but everything died off. So because of that, these fish don't really reproduce as much. Maybe they do, and they just eat them. The babies don't survive. But yeah, I guess the population is okay for this size aquarium. We have about 10 cherry barbs. We have 1 of these paradise gourami. And then we also have a blue gourami that somebody bought me, which I don't recommend. Not a good idea to buy a fish keeper of fish because, you know, there takes a lot of research and planning and everything like that. But there's a blue gourami. You know, the blue gourami get about 4 inches. So yeah, he's in there as well. But yeah, this tank is doing great. I added a peace lily, like the ones on my 350. These are actually clippings from my 350. We have a nerve plant right there. And then we have lucky bamboo. And of course, all the aquatic plants. Over here, we have another peace lily. This one is actually doing a little bit better. It produced a little flower. We have another nerve plant. And then we have a little, what is this? A spider plant from this right here. Every now and then, this one shoots out some babies, and I just plop them in the water and then eventually put them inside of a planter. This tank is a little bit different because I just re-dirted this aquarium. I put a fresh batch of dirt in there. So this tank is a little bit more full. We have Amazon sores. We also have a terrible glare, so you can't really see what's going on. You can see we have an albino bristlenose pleco in there. We have a, what is that? That is a paradise gourami right here. And we also have another blue gourami in this aquarium. So again, that person bought me some fish. The intent was good, but definitely not enough research, or not according to what I wanted. But I'm going to keep them in here because I definitely like just the way gourami interact with me. So yeah, those are the only fish we have in this aquarium. I actually had a huge issue with this right here. This is green slime algae. Probably because I re-dirted it and it was fresh dirt leaking out excess nutrients, and everything became imbalanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some platies, and I believe that the platies will help take care of this algae. They're also going to look very beautiful because they're bright red and yellow, and they look like mini koi. So that's going to be like a new pond. But yeah, that is a look at these tanks. I got to do like a full video on these aquariums because, like I said, I could look at these tanks for hours because the fine details, just the small things in these tanks, is what makes them interesting. Okay, everyone, so this is going to be the final stop, and we're taking a look at my outdoor aquatics. And this is my backyard pond. This pond is about 1,000 gallons, and we are in the winter season. So far this winter hasn't been bad. Today is about 40 degrees, and that's been like the average temperature. We haven't had any freezing weather where the pond had to freeze over. And I think last year we had, like, by this time, at least three times that the pond froze over. So far it's not too bad. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Of course, I myself, I like the more mild temperatures in the 40s. However, it seems like that does trick the fish a little bit. They need that deep freeze to just know the seasons. I feel as if sometimes when we get these not so hard winters, it throws off the fish a little bit, and they come up a little bit too early. So I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's something that I've been noticing. But yeah, this is the backyard pond. Everything is in hibernation mode. The fish, they are woke. They do go back and forth. They swim around, but of course it's much more slow. The goldfish, they're a little bit more active than the koi. I believe that they handle the winter a little bit better. But the koi, they're doing good. They're doing all right. And yeah, that's look at the pond. I love how the waterfall, even though it's been off for a couple of months, the moss is still growing. And it's just still maturing even though it's an off season. But yeah, that is the backyard pond. Eventually, I don't know if I could do it this upcoming summer season, but eventually I want to go ahead and redo some of these rocks and make it look more natural like the waterfall. But yeah, that is the pond. Over here we have Rocky. We also have Ghost. I like to feed the birds, keep the birds in the yard. I don't have any food up there now, but they all just sit in this tree as if I can't see them. But there's like 40 birds over here in this tree. And then lastly, I just want to give you guys a quick look over here. We have this pond over here. This is my temporal pond. It's an above ground pond, and I normally use it for just random stuff. This is the pond that I'm hopefully going to be able to breed my tilapia in. But in the winter, of course, you can't really keep fish because it would freeze completely. So instead, I fill it up with mulch and I toss in my more sensitive plants that really can't tolerate New Jersey's winter. And that just gives them a little bit more insulation. But yeah, everyone, that's been a look at the backyard pond. One more thing. This is that piece of driftwood that I want to add to my 350. This thing is like 50 pounds. So it's definitely going to be interesting trying to put that in there. But this video is extremely long and we're going to stop it now. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to watch. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.